All right, so recently I've been using plop. Plop is a micro framework for generating files from template files. So for this example, we'll be creating a React component. So now why would I use plop? One, it lets you template out what your components are going to look like, and then you just run one command and it creates all the files you need for you. Two, it makes you think about what your components are going to look like. So basically, if you've always just been kind of creating and going on the fly, hey, I'm going to put an interface here, or I'm going to define a component here, or I'll have two components inside this one file here, it helps you wrangle all that. So it makes you be opinionated, and it also lets everybody on the team make the same files from the same place every time. And if you want to change a standard, you just change your templates. So let's run the command. So we have npm run plop, and in my case, I've named my command component. So here it is. It's going to ask me to name my component. We'll name it test component. And I'm using GraphQL. So I'm going to say from my question that I'm asking myself in this setup that I have, yes, go ahead. Let's make some GraphQL files. And then are you writing hooks? So this is where the opinionated part comes in. And this is where it helps you decide what you want to do. So in my case, my hooks are never inside my component. They're in their own directory, named and tested their own way. This way you can write hooks. Anytime you import use whatever from React, we make a hook file for it. And this way we can test it without having to mock and set up all of the whole component. You just get to test just your hook. So we'll say yes for this, and then we'll just name it test hook. And so here we can see 5 files added. These are all the files for our actual component. Index is going to export our component. This is where our styles will live. I'm using styled components, so they'll all be in there. This is the test for our component, the component itself, and then all types will be in this one file instead of just sprinkling them around the whole component. After this, one file added, GraphQL. So this is where our GraphQL queries, mock mutations or subscriptions will be at. And then 2 more because we said yes to making this hook. So hooks, use test hook, and its test will be here. So let's see, this got created. Here they are. So these files all got created from plop. And so test component is here. You know, it made empty props for our types. So you can see test component props imported here and applied test component props. So it's all tied together. Our test is here, and you can see npm run test. The test that's generated does automatically pass. And so it's just basically printing some text to the screen, right? Test component created via plop, test component created via plop, right? And then everything else, yeah, we're just looking at files now. So use hook. And so it created all this. Every time it's going to be the same. And so what does that look like? So here, it's just a handlebars file. Proper case name was taken from this first question it was asked. So we're telling it, hey, we want to use proper case, and this is a plop feature. So you could do snake case or anything else, underscore case. They have, I think, like 8 different options. And so I'm saying use proper case name because that's how React components want to be named. React wants to see a variable with an uppercase, proper case name, and then it knows it's a React component. And so all these handlebar files are what you decide to create. So this is just our component. It generated this file here. And so you go through, make these things, and then you can have consistent files throughout your entire project. And just like that, you know, one command, you had all these files created. All right, so how is all this made now that we've shown how it works? When you install plop, you can then run a plop file. And so remember how I typed npm run plop component? That's this command here. So through this command, when we run plop component, it knows to run these prompts and actions. So here's what we were prompted with after we run the command. Message component name in proper case. That's exactly what it says here. So then while prop's running, it's going to assign whatever I typed in to this variable name. And that's because input type lets you type in whatever you want and it stores the value. After that, we had confirm, are you using GraphQL? So a yes or no question. Same thing, another confirm, are you writing hooks? And again, those answers were just over here on the side. And then here's where things get even more customizable. So you'll notice this last one has a when. And so we're looking at, it's, as I said, it's restoring all of our answers as we're going through. So response.hook is from here. And if we answered yes, when wants us to return a Boolean. And if this is true, then this whole thing will run. If it's false, then it won't ask this question. So you can start asking more and more complex things for things that you want to add to your project. So that's the prompts part of it. After that, we take on actions. And so I use add many. There's a lot of types here. So what kind of action do you want to run? So I want to add many files for this action. And I just use add many for all these because I don't want to have to come back and change it from an add to an add many and then change, all these attributes and different things. So it's a little bit of future proofing there. So destination is where they're going to go. So after we made this, ran this command and these files were made, source components, proper name case got put here. So source components, test component got made. Base is part of the template files path that you do not want added to this path. It sounds a little confusing, but if this didn't exist, then plop would have put this file in plop components, source components, proper case. It actually probably would have got messed up because of this. But without this, it would be the files would just always be in the wrong place. So it's taking these template files from plop component, that which we showed you here. So plop component, and then it's putting them here. And so from here on, we just have kind of the same pattern. The only thing here is, how do we know when we want to do our GraphQL action and our hooks action? So that's this skip argument. It's a lot like when, it's just what we return is different. So if we return a string, it will run. If we return a string, it will not run. And the reason why is that string is used to generate the error message. So if it has a string for the error message, it won't run. Otherwise, if you return undefined, it will run. So we're basically looking at what our confirm result was for GraphQL. And if it was false, then we return the string to not run. Otherwise, we return undefined so we can run. And then these are the same. So if you want to see what that looks like, we can run a command again and fail component. Do we want to use GraphQL? No. Are you writing hooks? No. And so you can see not creating GraphQL file and no need for hooks. That's exactly what we have here. No need for hooks, not creating GraphQL file. And so just like that, you can use this to create quite robust components from the very get-go that are working and easy for everybody to add on to. So hopefully this video makes you rethink how you have your components set up, how you can use this kind of technology going forward, and hopefully it's something that if you're on a team will make the team a lot better.